Hello, and welcome to our show, Midwest Weekly, starring myself, Hairwiz, and my co-host. Um, Actually, I don't know where my co-host is. He's MIA. So it's just starring myself and myself. So sorry about that again. We've been having more issues. I don't know if you guys can hear by my voice, but I'm sick again. Who knows what's going on with me? It's irrelevant. But yeah, so I messed up scheduling again this week, and now CLT is unfortunately busy. So we're gonna have me again for this episode. I was thinking about a 2 week episode. Me and him were kind of talking about it, but I figured, given the fact that this is the last week before the playoffs start, I figured we should put out this episode. Uh, so we only have one more week. We're going to be going into week 7. In fact, there is actually going to be a match tonight um, while I'm recording this. So I want to get this episode out there and have it done and at least recorded, even if it drops maybe after that series tonight. But yeah, so with that said, I'm by myself again, so we're not gonna do as clean as we normally do it, all right? And I don't know how much my voice has in it today, but I did want to go over a few things. As we discuss a little bit of these matches, I wanted to talk about MVP candidates. I think that'd be really interesting to do in this episode. I've kind of mentioned a few, and I figured why not go down the list and maybe give you like 6 to 8 guys. Maybe you can put them in order even for you guys that I think are MVP candidates. I'll do that more towards the end of the episode, maybe ranking them for fun. And in no way am I saying any of these players would be better than the other when I do that, by the way. I just think it'd be fun and what I think would make the most sense as an MVP this split. It's been a great split. Been a lot of people that could certainly be candidates. With that said, though, let's jump into this first series here. We got Capachungus versus Insane Banana Posse. It did look like it loaded on the battlefield. This is great. This is always fantastic. As we know, this is CLT on the team now. So again, I wish he was here to talk about his series. I know things didn't go great. We're gonna watch that level 1. I heard that level 1 was pretty rough. But looking at this, kind of sticking out here. Um, War Initiate, playing some J4. I think that's been something he's played well. I think it should be a very high prio jungler, along with the Wukong. So you're getting the two top junglers, I believe, currently in the meta at the moment. Um, Meanwhile, uh, Ghost Tiger here on the casting. We haven't seen a lot of casts of him, but it has had success. I don't know if I even love it this game, to be honest. It's not into like anything favorable, but looks like Ghost Tiger still had a nice game. um, Obviously 7, 5, and 10 did work. Crackler had a really nice 80 carry game here on the Tristana, going 13, 2, and 6. 31% of the team's damage. Pretty phenomenal there. The one thing sticking out to me the most is this is a 20-minute game, so it's a very, very quick one for game 1 here. CLT going back to the Smolder here, not having the most fun. He did basically the entire damage for the team, 17,000 on 33%. That's obviously not going to be enough to get it done from the rest of your team. If your mid laner is doing nearly, well, he is doing 1/3 of the team's damage by himself. Very difficult to win games, right? Of course, Capachungus has gone through some problems these last couple weeks. Glad that they're still sticking it out. Shows Campbell's, um, fortitude here to push through and still make it happen, which I really love to see. So thank you to Campbell for doing that, and everybody else that's been playing with Capachungus here, CLT and Minus, obviously, as well as Souls in the top lane. And I don't know how to pronounce that, but couldn't be Beaner, could it? Please tell me that's not what it is. Okay, I'm a B Scener. Is that a C? Like, bro, I'm gonna get so much crap because of what I just even said. I don't know. Is that what it says? I'm trying to read it. I don't know. I don't know. Please don't hate me in the comments. Um, but with that said, let's check out the game. I'm not gonna get myself in any more trouble. Maybe he's got a different in-game name. Let's see. No, that's his name. Is that a C, bro? Like, I'm trying to zoom in on this. Is it an O, bro? I don't know. It's something. Somebody in the comments, like, tell me. Click the wrong button here. All right. So yeah, the 7-1 was a bit of a scrap here that I'm aware of. So we'll go ahead and watch that. Let that play here on the playback. I heard that it did not go very, very well for the side of Capachungus. It's interesting that both teams actually invade, and they're gonna meet up. So what goes on with this clown fiesta is really the question. Poppy, like going very very low here. Somehow being able to initially walk out for Campbell, but oh my goodness, an absolute disaster to start the game. Yeah, I can already see what's happening here. It's not going very well. Is that a triple kill for the Tristana? Oh jeez, is it a quad to start the game? He's flashing. Oh, Ghost Tiger takes the quad. That's insane. Yeah, that will probably lose you a game pretty quickly. Capuchungus didn't really have a way back in after that. With that said, I think a good time to talk about Insane Banana Posse. I think a team that's had some ups and downs this split, but I think a lot of riding on this game, and of course this game tonight even. They need to win to have a chance to make playoffs, and I think there's a conversation to be had about one of my MVP ideas here is as Ghost Tiger. I think Ghost Tiger's had an excellent split. No matter what, if his team is having a rough game or not, he's always performing relatively well. Yeah, he's had some off moments. That's why I would not consider him a top tier pick for me at the MVP spot. But it's somebody that certainly, if his team manages to make playoffs, I mean that brings his chances up for the MVP for me, higher. With that said, he's got a lot of teammates that enable him. I think War Initiate does well to play around him and really sets him up. Meanwhile, bot lane always stable. Crackler and Threshold, they do their job. They're gonna have their work cut out for them tonight. In Debori and GeoPro, if they want to again have a shot at the playoffs. But man, it's definitely been a good split for Ghost Tiger. And then One-Handed Gaming coming in after winning the MVP in Rec League has looked absolutely astonishingly like really really good. Honestly, for a guy that's a little lower either than some, he's played really well. I think he's had an excellent split for that fact. It's not easy, of course. I mean, some of these guys in this top lane are absolutely monsters of the league that he's played against, but he's held his own in most series. And here he had a nice game into Souls' Ornn. Pretty pretty quiet performance there for kind of the both of them. I think overall when you look at the stat sheet, but nice little game. Let's scroll through a little bit and let's kind of see what else happened here. I mean, you just see the gold lead about 3K. I'm gonna scroll probably towards the end because this game was very quick. Maybe we'll find a team fight. Maybe there's like an Otacon team fight or something. Oh, that's 20 minutes. There's not even an Otacon team fight. We'll try to find. Maybe is there a fight here over the Herald by chance? Trying to find one 5v5 before we move on to the next game. Oh, jeez, look, just a Ghost Tiger popping out of a bush. It's Halloween and he's already being scary. That was a nice pickup kill back though. Sorry guys, that's gonna be hard to mask this cough. We don't really get a team fight, do we? Here we go. I saw some kills. Let's kind of see what happens. Man, it's so gross when a Cassidon's ahead, by the way. It's really not easy to play the game. But again, like you could see, like Ghost Tiger does not have a free game here. Like I think Wukong is actually pretty good in the Cassidon. I think Kaisa doesn't mind it as well. Smolder, not easy for Smolder to play. And certainly, Ornn is going to be tanky. The Poppy kind of matters and doesn't matter at the same time. But yeah, just a clean wipe. And it looks like they're able to walk it down into the Nexus from here. Really insane way to end this game. Just not resetting, just fight. What a game one from Insane Banana Posse. And this is what Insane Banana Posse needs to look like when they play tonight. They need to show up in a game like this if they want to have a chance against Coin Flip, man. Maybe it might be worth flipping the game against a team that in their name is about flipping the game. So certainly be a fun one. We can go ahead and take a peek here at game 2. All right, so we got Ghost Tiger here on the Yone. Another pretty solid performance, 6-4-4, 20% of the team's damage. Doing good work there. War Initiate pulling out his Mordekaiser jungle. We've seen that a couple times from him. He looks really good here. 8-3-4 game, so definitely taking care of business. Really liking that. We've seen some Mel support. We've seen some of that across the split, and it can be really annoying here from Thresh all day. And one-handed getting some Tom Kench action. You gotta love it. Meanwhile, Capuchunga's CLT taking his Aurelion Soul. I think he plays this champion very, very well. Again, doing the most damage on his team, 27% of the team's damage. Meanwhile, Minus actually had a much better game here, 22% on 3, 3, and 3, and Souls with 23%. So at least the damage is pretty balanced across the team. I think only Jungle here a little bit behind with only 12% of the Pantheon game, which I guess Pantheon and Mordekaiser might be a little different to play into. It should be pretty playable though. I think they have pretty even clears, and Pantheon gets easier gank timings. But this game, at least going a little bit longer, 28 minutes. So Capuchungus does fight back a bit. While I catch my breath, I'll jump into this one. Kind of see what's going on here early on. I always try to look for the breaking points in the game. Of course, you're seeing a pretty even game state, and based on a 28-minute game, it's rare that you don't see the game close. I think for the early lane phase, usually games that are close and go 28, 30 minutes, they usually break somewhere around like the 18 to 20 minute mark is what I've noticed. So we're gonna look for the balloon and spike and gold. I mean, looks like Capuchungus is holding their own early on in this game. I mean, in fact, they even have themselves a bit of a lead. So it makes you wonder how game one would have went if they just didn't have the unfortunate start to the game. Let's go ahead and keep scrolling through. Is it like an Otacon? And it looks like a very very fun game. All right, here we go. I see a 3K gold lead, so something happens. So it's right around the 20-minute mark. I kind of called it, didn't I? I'm just a genius. So yeah, the Herald usage here looks to be highly impactful. I think anytime you can use Herald to get a tier 2, it's on side lane, it's really great, bot or top. Obviously, you're getting the most gold out of that and efficiency from the Herald. With that being said, I do like breaking up a mid a lot of times if it's not broken open. But again, I think the gold value is higher. Breaking the mid is going to be for pressure, in my opinion, more than for gold. With that said, a bit of a crazy fight here. A lot of trading back and forth. But the big thing is they're able to acquire nearly a whole turret. I mean, Tom Kench looks like he really wants it. Meanwhile, Jinx is pushing it. So this is essentially a 4v5 on the bot side of the map that is won by the side of Insane Banana Posse while acquiring 3 turrets on the play. That's going to balloon your gold a bit, right? To get you in a good spot. Keeping the Jinx mid, telling Crackler just farm, just get turrets. If you can ever get free gold for your AD carry, I think it's really, really smart to do. Like, if you just send your AD carry to collect turret after turret or wave after wave, especially in these early mid games when you're trying to get to these third items and stuff, is really big. Jinx obviously on 3 items gonna spike super hard. With her items right now, like she's still pretty strong. But you can tell Capuchungus is just kind of getting confused on how they want to play the situation, right? Once they kind of fell behind, they knew Otacon was on the table. And meanwhile, they're kind of getting split on. Just great pressure being provided there by Ghost Tiger, and something that, again, like I pointed out, he's been great for a reason, and I'm certainly not surprised to see his success here. That being said, let's go ahead and peek at the end of the game here, and we'll move on to the next one. Yeah, Baron is acquired. Souls was already dead pretty much when this fight really got taken off, and it's just so hard to carry it without some sort of front line. I think for Capuchungus is kind of the problem that I'm noticing as this game kind of progresses. Wasn't really even thinking about that, but the Tom Kench Mordekaiser was just huge, being in front, allowing the Jinx to free hit, and then allowing the Yone to get space. Whereas the A Soul is really got to count on Campbell's, Nico, and Souls to really set them up. And I don't think they're. I mean, no way are either of those champions great front lines. That's not bad. It's not enough. He's a bruiser. So really well played here by Insane Banana Posse, who luckily are going to find themselves at least contending tonight for a possible playoff spot if they can get the win over Coin Flip. So we'll go ahead and move into the next series here, which was Small Brains, No Mechanics versus Scorch. A long time rivalry. I've talked about it a lot. I don't know why Scorch's stuff never pops up, but here we are. You guys can tell I was there. I played. Um, so I could just talk about it a little bit here. Yeah, I mean this series was another one of those fast series, as you saw. The previous one here, a totality of 48 minutes. This one was 47 minutes. So both series were very, very quick this week. And I don't know if that's just kind of the end of the split. People starting to fatigue, or some teams having stuff to fight for while others don't, or what's going on there. But obviously Scorch is a great team. They've always shown that to be in the past. They haven't had maybe the split they are going to remember as much. And I don't think Small Brains is either. With that said, both teams are kind of fighting for a chance to make playoffs. With either of them winning, the other would be out of contention. Small Brains ends up picking up the series here, 2-0. So that leads them to, again, having an opportunity this week to at least fight for the playoffs. Notable absences. Tem is actually back here. He's actually a longtime mid laner of Scorch. He came in to play top lane for them as Ares was out, as well as both Fidsick and Monogatari being out for the side of Small Brains. So you see Big B Tiger, who's been a pretty long-standing member of the league at this point now. He's played about 3 splits, I want to say. 2 or 3 splits. Obviously took this one off. Not starting on any teams. And then myself here in the support role. I think Scorch early on, they played decently well. We're able to get like a nice little invade off at the start of the game. Catch out Calico, Burner Flash, and pick up a nice little first blood. Kind of set a tonal for the game. I was really surprised in them leaving the Azir up, as they've played into Zema's Azir many times. Pretty surprising. Obviously, Rusty going for the Poppy to try to neutralize the Azir pick, which certainly can work, but did not end up working as well as planned. It was mostly just the top side of the map, though, doing work. We didn't have to do too much on the bot side. We pretty much just pushed them out of the lane and kind of slowly grew a CS lead through that. It wasn't easy for them to walk up. Caitlyn obviously having a lot of range and set up there. Meanwhile, I think One Punch Jack had a really nice game on Sejuani. Back-to-back nice Sejuani games, in my opinion. He had a really good one last week as well. Kind of showing that he's getting more comfortable on this pick. The question is something like that a little far, too late or not? That is yet to be known, right? Yeah, overall, we're having a really nice game. This is Sejuani pick. But like I said, I think the star of the show really came down to the Azir. Zema popped off on it. Kind of nothing unusual there. Always performs really well. And the game never really felt too close. And you kind of see that in the gold lead. Ballooned pretty quickly. And we kind of never looked back. We ended the game in kind of quick fashion, and I'll just show that really quickly. Didn't need a Baron, didn't need a Soul. We took a lot of the Nexus here, and then, or not the Nexus, I should say, a lot of their inhibs. They were down to inhibitors, and we just won a fight. Coming up here in a second, and just kind of said, "Oh well, I think we can end," and we all just kind of went and ended the game. Hard to play into double inhibitors down. Really, I feel like in most cases, but when you're really like this far behind, it is super difficult. And I know from Scorch, like this is probably one of their hardest games that they've played in a while. Like this is not the Scorch that I certainly know. They are a much better team than what they were able to portray against us in this game one. And I think they played a better game too. But when you fall so far behind, 5, 6, 7K early, man, it's those are really hard games to come back from. Um, you certainly can, and teams have, but usually it does not happen. I feel like it's a one in every like I don't know. I'm throwing a funny number. I don't know, one in maybe 500 games. It feels like you are gonna come back from that. Maybe it's a little lower than that, but I am referring to early game gold here. I think in totality, if you're only behind 3K early and then you're behind 7 or 8K late, that that's easy. That's easier to come back from. But I think if you're down in the first 10 to 15 minutes, you're down 5, 6K. Game's probably pretty much over. But yeah, so nice win here by Small Brains. Uh, the the next game here, kind of similar in terms of how it ended. It was very quickly, just 1 second. We're putting the brakes on. There were some mistakes early here though from the Small Brand side. I know myself. I did some griefy stuff, looking for some aggressive plays with One Punch Zach. Got punished for it, so I definitely was struggling early. This was the Vic the Butcher show though. Overall, Vic had himself a really nice game. I forgot exactly how many kills he had, but he completely went off on this game. I thought One Punch had a nice performance here on the Volibear. It's always been a stable pick for him, so not too surprised there. Um, I think they drafted pretty well. A lot of their picks were actually pretty good to recon, like Lysandra and Morgana. If they lock me up, I'm pretty much dead. Um, so certainly it's not a free engage, and that happened a couple times this game for sure. Here you're gonna see my int. I will gladly show it. It's pretty funny. I do play support. That's my secondary role, but it's only my second time ever playing competitive, and I don't know. I got a little bit more aggressive than I probably should have, so I deserved the death. Um, but that's what I was saying. They were fighting back earlier in this game. I think we they got rid of some of our champions, but someone here on the Aurora also had a really nice performance too, and never not surprising from him. With that said, I think Zema actually, in my opinion, and is easily an MVP candidate as well. I think Zema had an excellent split. I know I'm naming mid laners right now. Trust me, that's not all I'm going to name, but I think he's definitely one of them that deserves a big shout out. If Small Brains can somehow clutch the playoffs, I think he's the big part of that reason why they were able to do so. Pretty much in every single series he showed up. His worst game was like a week 2 game, and even then it was still a good performance overall. It was just weaker for maybe his sake. But I mean, he's a top kill leader. I don't know if he's number one, but I know he's up there. Him and Rika are showing on the Battlefy stats, I think 1 and 2. I don't know if all the games are tracking properly though, but nonetheless, these guys are the guys on top of this kill list. Like they're doing tons of work in their games, and Zema certainly has been doing so. He's definitely the games run through him, and if he's performing well, then the team's going to have a lot of success. With that said, don't get wrong. I think Mono and Fid have had a bit of a slower year, but I think they've overall played well like they normally do. One Punch has struggled at times. He's the newest member of the team, though, so it's somewhat understandable. Um, and uh, you're looking at Vic, and um, he's had a couple standout performances, and I think he's been very stable for the team, like always. But like I said, I think this has probably been certainly an MVP worthy season from Zuma. Sad to see Scorch go though. I think they're on a bye this week technically, so their season unfortunately has come to a close after the week 6 performance. I know it's something that they are certainly going to want back. The season was on the line and it didn't come through, but I wouldn't put it past them to return next split and kind of show off. I think if Scorch made it, Rusty was a candidate for me for MVP as well. Though I think the team should always have to make playoffs if they're truly an MVP. But he was someone I was really looking at and really performing well for his team. Always a really great enabler and setting things up. With that said, let's just peek at the end so we can get on out of here before I lose my voice and die. Okay, right here. It was another one where it was funny that like how we were talking about the Capuchungus one. There, no one reset. We didn't even get to reset here either, and all of a sudden we're just everybody's dead, and it's just like okay, it's an end angle. You die next to your base. That's kind of what can happen. Generally, this doesn't happen like that, right? At least not this early. Teams are smart enough to not do so, generally speaking. But sometimes you just make mistakes and things happen. So that is GG, and like I said, congratulations to Small Brains. Yeah, they've given themselves one more week. Now we'll move on to a really fun series, which we do have screenshots. It looks like, so we'll go ahead and pull those open. That's gonna be Coin Flip versus the Hashira. Yeah, man. So big thing. Geopro was out for the series, so Chengi was in. Otherwise, it's full units across the board. This is the normal, basically normal coin flip lineup at this point, which we discussed all split. Brandino in the jungle, Matthias top, and Aristotle in the mid lane. Bori 80 carry, and then of course when Geopro returns, he is the support. So there has been some swapperoonies around, but they're back at full force at least, pretty much. But this version, whatever you want to call it, this is Coin Flip 3.0, 2.0, whatever this is, because Changi's in there. We're able to win this first game. They did fall short in the series, as you guys saw, but kind of getting into it. Another really just good game here from Bori. I think he's had a quietly a good split. It's really weird to say that, but like this split hasn't been like crazy Bori performances, but I think he's had a quietly great split. I don't think there's anything where I go, man, this guy is just holding this team down. That's far from my thought process. But from where we know him to be, the MVP Bori, I don't think we've seen that quite yet. I don't think he's had to be that. I think this team is pretty good overall. Finally get to see Aristotle in the mid lane again. Here playing the Anivia. One of the interesting picks. I think CLT would be proud if he was here. Brandino pulling out the Jax jungle. Not something we see a lot. I do think into Wukong, it shouldn't have great success, but it should be fine overall. And then Matthias pulling out his famous Ivern top lane. So, what a guy. Meanwhile, we see Akazo taking the Wukong. Again, Wukong looks great. I mean, it looks like he had another great performance overall. Unfortunately, the team was not able to win. And everyone else had kind of a quiet game. I mean, Deborah Morgan, 2-2-4, not too bad on the Sivir here. Giyu, a bit of a rough matchup topside. I don't know if that had to do with being ganked or not. We'll kind of peek at it and find out. And then Guillaume here on the Syndra. A solid performance. Unfortunately, though, it was not enough. And what was a relatively long game, 34-minute game. Wouldn't expect anything less from these two teams. So let me find that. No, that's the wrong one. Hold on, guys. Sorry. I am looking for Hashira week 6. It might not be on the playlist, actually. Interesting. All right, give me a second, guys. I gotta go here and find it for you guys. There we go. For whatever reason, it's not on the playlists. I'll make sure it gets there. Don't worry. If you guys are trying to watch that. But we can click in. Yeah. So both these teams, man, both these teams have been excellent, and I was really looking forward to the series. Unfortunately, I didn't get to cast it, but this was one of those that was definitely on the card. Like, this is a big one. This solidifies the 1 seed for the group, which Hashira has now earned themselves that. And they could possibly have an undefeated split in series at least. Look how we're on a pause, and I'm just sitting here chatting, like leaving it on the pause. But yeah, both teams have just looked awesome. Now I think it's pretty obvious that I think Akaza is an MVP candidate here for Hashira. I've talked tons about this guy, but what about Coin Flip? Do they have an MVP type player? And I think the answer to that is in totality, yes. I think they do. Number one, I think even though Bori's had a quiet split, I think he still is a quiet MVP candidate. Like, I think he should be in that conversation. Also, I think it's fair to say that even someone like Brandino could be in there. But The one that really, really is my true, like, if I were to pick someone off coin flip, I think it's GeoPro. I think GeoPro's had a fantastic split. It sucks he didn't play here, but I feel like if he plays here, he is the factor that can beat the Hashira, and he didn't play, so that makes a big difference. And maybe can give more, candidacy to his MVP candidate, right? Um, yeah, I think if you're sleeping on this guy, he's played some excellent matches from his Leonas to his Nautiluses to Sejuani picks and support. This guy has been doing it all, and some of those surprise picks and surprise ruins like his PTA, I think are really impactful and part of the reason that coin flip can win games, especially because the early games had struggled, especially on the top side of the map. Between jungle mid and top lane. So he's been so stable down there, making sure to set Bori up. So I think if that's for me, I think he'd be the MVP of the team. But I also just think he's one of those supports that have stuck out as an MVP type player, at least for me. Um, with that said, let's kind of scroll through a little bit. Let's see where we find the breaking point. Man, even at 20 minutes, very close game. 2K difference, and very low kills, too. Looks like we're going to have a TP. We can kind of watch this play over. Mordekaiser coming in. He does put the poor guy in the death realm. Oh, hairstyle. I just put your flash all over the internet, buddy. I'm sorry. An unfortunate flash does not make the wall. But yeah, I mean that's starting to balloon your gold lead here in favor of the Hashra, even though they don't win this game, which is interesting. So how long was it again? It was 34 minutes. Okay, all right. Wow, so it was a 4K. It was about a 4K gold lead. So that means coin flip fights back in this game to win it. Very impressive. And I see that. What gets them back up in gold? Actually, it's interesting. They're down like 4K, and then all of a sudden, oh, I think it's turrets on the top side of the map. Yeah, Brandino splitting. This is something Brandino's done really excellently. I've pointed him out. He's doing it in the jungle. He does it in the top lane too. He's so good at providing pressure. That's why I even talked about him as being like an option for MVP in his pressure alone. His performances aren't always like crazy. It's not like this crazy stat line. Maybe he dies a little more than he gets kills or whatever. But that's not everything about the game. And I think he plays a very split push heavy style that a lot of teams are not comfortable with. And it gets weird. And from the jungle, being your jungler split pushing is definitely very unique, but that does start to close the gold gap a little bit. So let's scroll through a little more. Wow, so we just passed it up here. So it's 48K. It's 3 Drakes to 2. Must have a Baron fight. Here we go. So looks like it's probably going to be a Baron flip. Chenky doing really well to zone here. Kaza trying to look for a play. Does it end up costing them? The Baron alone has already evened up the gold. So it looks like it's probably just the Baron that does it initially. Is there a fight? Yeah. So they're able to get 2 kills. We can peek at the kills, shall we? Oh yeah, here we go. Let's peek at this fight real quick. That way we know exactly what happened. Man, Brandino's just an absolute menace on the back line there. And the way he's able to mid-max a bit there, he's like, flashing like the last second. And his Jax has been very excellent this split. I think it's something, and that's probably why he took it in the jungle. He's been feeling very comfortable on the pick. But yeah, that's gonna balloon your gold lead. You get a turret, you get some kills, and all of a sudden now you're up 57 to 54. I mean, it's pretty huge. And then we'll just kind of scroll to the end of the game. Oh, there's a big fight. Let's see it. So it starts with them trying to pick off Deborah Morgan. Gets him really, really low. And Bori nearly dropping there too. So it's a very, very close fight. But Brandino, just look at the space he's providing. Silver can't walk in. Just absolutely phenomenal gameplay out of him this game. It really just sets it up for the team. And there's nothing that Akaza can do at that point. He's pretty much been outscaled, unfortunately. And yeah, so really close game one here. Let's go ahead and peek at game two. Um, so Brandino here gonna pick up the J4. Not have a great game. Again, I think J4 is great. It's interesting that both Wukong and J4 in this series, who I think are the top junglers, are both losing. We go with the Jinzao, which I think Jinzao's up there as well. Akaza though, man, what a performance! 12 on 14, and this is why I think he's an MVP, guys. I mean, look at this dude. There is certainly no doubt in my mind if he's not playing at the highest level that he is, that they're not looking at a possible, you know, not a one seed in a playoff spot. Like he had to get them there. They've had a lot of 3-game series, and in fact, the group itself, Group A, has been a lot of 3-game series with these top 4 or 5 teams. It's been really fun to watch. But yeah, bit of a rough game there. Aristotle picking up the Swain, which I know he likes a lot. Was actually used to play at bot lane back when he was the AD carry for the team. We never get it though. Does struggle here a bit, going with an interesting build. I wonder what CLT would have to say about this build. I'm not saying it's bad or anything, but I don't know if I like it. I don't know if I like Shirelia's Rylos. I don't know. I get the concept, but into that team, I don't know if I like it. Meanwhile, Bori did his best here on the Ziggs, 6, 9, and 4, but I think you're handicapping your team though. I think Bori's playing a Ziggs, by the way. I'm not saying Ziggs is bad, but there's only so much you can do with a pick like that. He still played well though. I'm not even taking anything away from him. He played phenomenally well, honestly, in my opinion. He did pretty much everything for the team. But I don't know if that's enough. Guillaume and Giyu both having themselves really good games though too. 8-2 and 22 on this Hue for Guillaume, and 8-5 and 9 for this Olaf. Maybe I have to change my Olaf takes. Olaf has had success in week 6. Maybe Olaf top is actually okay, and I'm just hating at it. We'll see. We'll see. If it continues to get picked out of the playoffs and it continues to have success, maybe then I'll change my mind. But I think I'm gonna stick to what I've been saying. I don't think I'm wrong for that process. So breathing is very, very hard for me, guys. All right. With that said, let's go ahead and get into the actual game itself. Let's peek and see what happens here in this game too. We're already off to a banger game. I'm just clicking through a little bit. Yeah, Jintao getting early kills is not something you really want to see. But game's already close to start. No objectives have even been taken, and we're 7 minutes in. Kind of crazy. Usually the first Drake is taken pretty early. So we're gonna scroll through and try to look for a breaking point. 15 minutes still very close. Okay. I passed it up, guys. Let's see what gets us to this gold lead here. So it's like right here. We get ourselves a bit of a mid fight. It looks like. Right? Yeah, literally when I was clicking on the 50 and I see 15 minutes is close still. Maybe I can do this real quick. Let's go a little faster. Alright, so we're going to get ourselves a little bit of skirmish here. Which they do push the team out, but now Akaza is able to get in there. And, of course, Xin Zhao here is very, very strong. It's crazy what the amount of damage Ziggs did. Like, Ziggs was so close to just straight up carrying this fight. And look at the HP bars. Very, very close. And to be honest, that doesn't even balloon the lead. I thought that was going to be more. So let's scroll a little further. All right, Harold. This has to be it, right? Yeah, this looks to be an all-out brawl. Matthias getting in there, doing what he can. Unfortunately, he's gonna fall, and Olaf starts doing work. And the Swain is doing a pretty good job at creating space. But once the Renekton is dead, there's really nothing that can deal with the Xin Zhao. So you focus your efforts in killing the Olaf, but then your Xin Zhao just kind of runs it over, and that starts to kind of carry this lead over a bit. We obviously get ourselves this Drake fight, which I can tell does as well. And just Akaza doesn't have to be scared when he's up this much. So, very well done here by him. But why don't we catch the ending of the game real quick? Just a huge cold lead. Also, okay, Soul was taken. I was wondering, do we get Soul? I feel like Soul hasn't been a big thing. People have been winning games without Soul. I guess that's just the first two series. Actually, I think this game, one, they didn't get Soul either. So, Soul's not been too huge. Sorry, guys. I do apologize for all the coughing. There's not much I can do. If you guys hear me do this all video, just, I don't know, have a drink every time I cough. You'll get very drunk very quickly. If you don't drink, drink some water instead. Water's good for you. You'll get extra hydrated fast. Yeah, nice team fight there out of the Hashira, and a very, very like decisive victory as well. So we'll move into the last game of the series, which all right, Brandito pulling out some Udyr. I have not seen this champion in ages. I don't know if that was the angle though, but he pulled it out. Wait a second, we got Udyr, and then we get Baran jungle. Okay, Akazu. He's pulling out some spicy stuff. That's a bit of a cook. I know CLT would have loved that. Guillaume had himself a nice game on Fizz. He's had a really good split too, to be all honesty. But man, all right, this game looks pretty fun already. Matthias going to his Smolder top, something he plays tons of. I think into Gangplank's pretty fine. He should stack relatively well. While Aristotle really struggling mid lane in this first series back as the mid laner for the team, coming from the jungle. So this new coin flip roster, I had questions about what it was going to look like. And again, I think if Geopro's in here, the team looks a little bit stronger and can edge out. Holy moly, I just scared myself. I don't know if you guys heard that. Oh my god. Music started playing on my phone. And not even music I listen to. Anyways, I just had a heart attack. I wonder if my mic picked that up. Anyways, as I was saying, yeah, so it would be different with Geopro. And I think Geopro would help them edge the Hashira. With all that being said, I mean, who knows what the playoffs are going to look like? Because I can imagine these two teams meeting again. So let's go ahead and peek at the end of the series. Do a quick run through of this game, and then we'll move on to the last two series of the week. So I'm certainly intrigued by that Brand Jungle, man. But I mean, early on, they already got this 2K gold lead. That's pretty massive early game, and this is something I've really stressed a lot about coin flip. By the way, is their early game issues, and against a better team, it kind of cost them. I think they struggled here in both game 2 and 3 for sure. Game 1, they were behind as well. So that certainly is an issue and something that I'm gonna keep on the keep as the watch out here going into playoffs for coin flip because I haven't changed my mind. I don't think they've cleaned up their early game enough to tell me that okay, this team is ready to be a champion. So it's something very interesting to me. So crazy. This branch uncle. Oh my god, this guy's gonna win MVP. All right, I feel that you guys are gonna vote him for MVP because this is some crazy stuff, man. He's had a crazy split. I hope he's loving the glaze a bit. But yeah, I mean they ballooned this lead so quickly. They got three Drakes here at 22 minutes. It's so hard to play for them. I think the Deer and Alistar have a hard time even stepping up. I think like Nautilus Alistar is a skill matchup, but you're walking into GP barrels. You're walking into brand stuns. That's not easy for them to walk into for these frontliners, and certainly not easy for a mid-ranged AD carry like Kaisa or Smolder to kind of play. I think there's a world where Smolder maybe gets to his stacks and they could push this game, but um, that's like the best case scenario. Plus, they actually have insane Baron damage. Don't even think about that. Dude, Baran does so much on Baron. just such a beautiful setup. Not even allowing him to come close to stealing. Really, really, really well played here, and that's actually the end of the game off that fight. So yeah, I would love to go a little more in depth. This was the three game series, and I'm sure there's more to talk about. But man, I mean Hashira, man, you've had an excellent split, and this week you have your last game here against Vancouver, which a win could possibly give you guys the official one seed going into the playoffs. You will be a one seed, but whether or not you have the edge over um, Instinct in terms of about side selection will be up in the air based on your guys' series against Vancouver. Should be a fun one. A lot riding on that series as well. Vancouver wins, they are guaranteed to be in. If they lose, again, there's a bunch of scenarios. We'll break them down towards the end of the episode as well. But there you go. With that being said, we can move into the next bracket. But I do want to say, we'll kind of click over here on. I want to actually go here to Vancouver. I think somebody on Vancouver, because we were talking about MVPs. I think Choros is another MVP type candidate. I think Choros had a very nice split, playing down the AD carry role. I think he may or may not have started top lane as well, but he has looked very, very good for the side of Vancouver. So I just wanted to showcase that, and since we're not going to talk about them play wise in this episode, but I think he's another guy that I would consider to be up there for the MVP. And I think the overall team's been excellent, but that is definitely my pick there. So let's get into Ninja Turtles versus Instinct CK. One I was also very excited for, and I think Ninja Turtles showed up. I think they played, man. I don't think they went easily into the night. I mean, they were definitely pushing Instinct a bit. But Instinct, man, they're a team that's always been good. Eclipse was out, Urim was in, and I know Instinct had a lot to prove because they dropped down in the power rankings. They're a little upset about that. I mean, rightfully so, I guess. But there was reasonings, right? So yeah, I mean this team coming out here, kind of throwing punches back and forth. Nexus here on the Rakan, I think is a great pick for him. I love it. It's in Don Don's Rel, which I also love. So these two supports, and we're going to talk about these two supports here in a bit, but I have a lot to say about the support role. This split, I think it's been very impactful. I think Sam Lad's been quietly having a very nice split mid lane. Fortunately, the Organa mid wasn't enough this time around. Good boy, always excellent pulling out this Oriana. But again, yeah, Arm coming in here, subbing in for Eclipse, having a really nice Fortune game, doing a lot of work here. We get a lot of setup from Rel, of course, and Oriana. Shockwave can kind of clump them all up. Obviously, Jin's out there just to create space and be a nuisance, and then Arctic, just go split push, buddy. I'm sure that's not the performance he'd like, but I think Mr. Bufa also didn't have the performance he would like aka spragging on mom for this game. Yeah, so both top winners, maybe not having the funnest time on either side. Also, lead on this Lee Sin. I like his Lee Sin a lot, by the way. But unfortunately, 12 deaths is not going to cut it, and I do kind of got to call that out a little bit. That's definitely not what you want to see. That is definitely not what you want to see. So let me go find this game real quick. Ninja Turts, right here. All right. So yeah, so let's kind of peek at what happened in this game, shall we? Early on, just a lot of aggression out of lead, which I love to see, but does get him punished. Wasn't able to pick up the kill and quickly getting the feats there of warfare. Which I think that was the story. I think lead, if I remember correctly, I do remember seeing some of this game, or maybe I even cast it. I can't remember. It's been so much time, can't keep track. Uh, yeah, lead just like the aggression is good, but I think sometimes you have to be like responsible on a pick like Lee Sin because you know you're always gonna get outscaled, right? So you got to be really good. You don't want to just become a glorified kick bot. That's definitely not what you want to see from the Lee Sin. But the aggression does allow him to get leads, and even in this game, I think he was doing very well to acquire that for himself. Just some plays were a little bit disjointed, and again, you just looking here at like engages like this from Don Don, so clean, and that leads me into Don Don. I think we're gonna talk about more MVPs here, right? A lot of people are gonna lean like oh, good boy, good boy, good boy. That's a lot of this league. We love good boy. I love good boy. He is excellent. But I'm gonna make a claim that he may not like, and maybe parts of Instinct won't like. But I actually don't think good boy's had as great of a split as he has in the past. I think this is his weakest split to date, honestly. Which, if this is Instinct with a good boy not being at peak, that's terrifying, by the way, because Instinct still looks like a great team all across the board, like usual. I mean, we could talk about Avalon forever. I think he's a fantastic jungler. Really sets up the team well. Arctic, underrated top laner. He can definitely get solo kills when needed, but he definitely leans more towards the Orns and the tankier tops a lot of times. um, and I think when Eclipse is in the game, I think he's an underrated AD carry in terms of like you don't see a lot of flashiness out of him, but man, he can get in flow states and he can do his thing. We saw him in the Ashe game where they lost the game, I believe, but that he was popping off on the Ashe. So yeah, but all that being said, I think Don Don has been the guy, man. I think Don Don performances have kept this team from kind of teetering at times where they could have lost games this split, in my opinion. But him and Eclipse have held that down really well. Uh, and I think I'm gonna go off on a limb here, and I'm gonna say something even crazier. I'm gonna give two spots to them. I think there's two guys. I think it's both Don Don and Eclipse. I would consider for MVP. MVP for Eclipse might be a little more of a sneaky, like kind of a little further out there. But Don Don, man, he's done great. But I think the overall team is so good that even though Don Don's done so well, I do think that like at times you can kind of overlook things because it's just a 5-man roster of just great players. You know, it's a well-oiled machine. They're like the San Antonio Spurs of old. You know, passing the ball perfectly and getting the perfect shot. That's this team, man. That's this roster. That's what I love about them when I watch them. They trust each other. With that said, let's go ahead and scroll in through a bit. And yeah, this game is just it's close throughout. Nobody really gets a huge advantage for a bit. But once you start making too many mistakes, obviously you're losing out account here for Ninja Turtles kind of sucks. But you see how close it is. I mean, even here, like Lee just doing work here on the Lee Sin. I think he played well enough to win at times, from what I remember. And this is like an example of a fight. He's carrying the fight. He's doing really well. He's keeping the Goldie close. But then he just makes a mistake here, and then it costs them, right? It was a very sad game for Ninja Turtles. I remember me Nexus messaging me about it, like how close it was, and they certainly could have won, but unfortunately didn't go their way. And now because they didn't win, and this is a conversation, because they didn't win, this week's matchup is it's for all the marbles. You win and you're in. You lose and you're out against Saboro. So pretty unfortunate there. But let's go ahead and we'll scroll to the end of this game and we'll move into. Here we go right here. We'll scroll to the end and we'll move into game two. But yeah, it was so close. I mean, and like they really could have won. Look at that ulti. That bullet time is just gross. Basically one shot the Morgana. Just overstepping a little bit can cost you, and there you go. That's your game. So we'll move in here into game two. Let's see what happened. Um, well, yeah. I mean, here Arctic playing the Mbessa, which I was kind of alluding to. He can play more than just tanks, but he definitely leans more towards tanks. Has a wonderful Mbessa game, in my opinion. Mr. Buffa's Kled. Um, this game just kind of like it was just a AD carry again. Really though. I mean, yeah, great game from Arctic, great game from Avalon, but look at Don and Arium, and that, Don just sets these AD carries up. That's what I'm gonna say. I think Arium plays a great game right here on the Virus, but he's getting set up from this Nico man, and Don's just doing tons of work there. The rest of the team obviously played very well, and that's what I'm talking about too. You don't really see a bad score on the team. Everybody looks good. Arctic had a good game. Avalon had a good game. Good Boy had a good game. Damage spread's pretty even across the board from the carry rolls. Um, overall, I think this was Ninja Turtles probably one of their worst games of the split, if you ask me. Um, they just couldn't really get anything going. They had a Jinx, which I'm fine with Jinx, but I just don't like the team comp they've assembled around the Jinx. I'm not a fan of both the Vi and the Kled. I'd rather see something more like tankier, like maybe a Sejuani, maybe a Maokai, just something to really set up the Jinx better. I do like the Renata though. I think the Renata does well to do that. And then Rise is Rise, but again, I think he wants to set up. Vi and Kled are okay for setting up Rise, so let's go ahead and kind of move into this and see kind of what happened here. And let's talk Ninja Turtles for a second, man. Let's talk Ninja Turtles as I'm kind of scrolling through. Yo, I said it too. Supports again, right? I brought up supports. Nexus, man. I still think he's an MVP candidate. I know he said like after a couple weeks I shouldn't be in the conversation, but I still think he is. Um, I think he did have one not so great series. I don't think it was this one. I think he played excellent here. Um, but yeah, I think he's played well. He sets up his team so well, and you can tell that he coordinates the plays, and he does get the team into the right spots. So he's definitely been the shining light of this team, and I'm just overall just happy for them just to get on the winning side of things this split and at least be looking at a chance at playoffs. Because I know that was that wasn't the case last split. They're now the greatest 1-4 team into the greatest, hopefully not 3-3 team. Because I think 3-3 team would mean they lose. I'll have to check the standings here, but yeah, I do think he should be considered an MVP candidate. I think everybody on the side of Ninja Turtles has done well and really had nice split. I think Tango has been great. But I think if you ask a lot of the good AD carries, I think Bori is one of those guys that talked about it a couple splits ago, where it's like, yeah, I mean, I'm getting the setup and stuff for my team, so it makes me look good. I think there's something to be said about that. But I think you still have to run with it as an AD carry. But Nexus, like Don does that, and they make their AD carries look even better. So Tanglefish is already a good AD carry, man. But he goes from good to like God mode with a guy like Nexus setting him up, which is kind of great. So that's just kind of my take there on more MVPs across the league, or whoever I consider. And I expect most of these guys to end up being all stars that I mentioned. I think they're all star candidates as well. But The MVP is the bigger prize, right? You get a skin. It's a prestigious award. Where's my MVP? Can I get Castro MVP? No, I'm just kidding. Give that to CLT. But yeah, it's a cool award to get. Excuse me. But I do remember this game being very, very close throughout, and really breaking, say it breaks off this Drake fight right here. So we'll go ahead and watch that real quick. Kind of watch the setup. I think the problem is though, like for them taking this fight, you're already walking into a Fed virus, and unless you can one shot him, which I don't think you can do for free, the game is certainly not easy. But yeah, they wanted to take a Drake here, but the Don Don setup is huge, right? Just Don Don things again. MVP guys, MVP. All right. I'm hoping one of these guys wins it because I think these guys I've all named will definitely deserve votes from you guys. Man, just so clean, so clean. And we'll scroll to the end and okay, here we go. All right, and then after this, we'll get into our last series of the week, and be able to look forward to finishing up this episode with power rankings and a little more MVP talks. Yeah, Renata tries to use the alt there to kind of disengage the fight, but just the Nico alt is so big. The Pop Blossom is too much to handle. So GG there, and congratulations to Instinct. You find yourselves basically back where you were last split. And the last one of the week, obviously Team Ghost again not playing, so Team 3 gets the 2-0 here. It's Femboy Jellyfish versus Saboro, and should be surprised. There's no stats here. Let's go ahead and take a peek at this series real quick. Where is? Am I blind? Oh, right there. I crossed over it. All right, so just kind of looking at things a little bit here. Harika here on Hawaii, just playing another champion. Hawaii's been, like I said, many different times. He's more of a nuisance that I would consider him like a great champion right now. But if you play him well, he can definitely mess up a game. He does do a lot of damage, has good range. So seeing him on that, Mac, aka Angel Boy, going for the Corky. Don't see as much Corky. Oh, and wait a second, it's our boy Haku. A sad jellyfish, happy jellyfish. Never played for Femboy Jellyfish until now. Alumni, but he's the alumni of the old roster here, so love seeing him back in there. That's pretty cool. Definitely my boy. Saboro, once again with the names that I can't pronounce, can't read. But going with the Wukong Scion here on the top side of the map. Scion and the Darius is interesting. Obviously we see the Darius get the solo kill early, but I'm wondering if how the matchup actually goes. Wish I had someone's brain to pick. Silas into Hawaii is actually not that easy, so I think it's a really good pick there from Marika. Now that I consider it, but the Thresh being taken away here from Higgins. And I know I've memed Higgins a bit this split, and I have talked about the the Hook champs, but I think he's had a great split. I love seeing the versatility here to pull out the Braum. I think it's pretty good into Thresh, and as a guy who plays Thresh, I would expect him to know definitely what picks work well into those champions, punishing that very, very well. So, meanwhile, they're able to pick up some kills on both sides here, and Iron Winters found himself in a really weird spot. That looks funny. We'll scroll through a little bit. See, this game already 3K gold lead here for Femboys. We'll talk a little bit about Femboys here for a second. I got two guys for me, so I think the no surprise, Rika should be on that list of candidates. I do think so, but I think even though he's had a fantastic split, by the way, I think a fantastic split. I don't think there's any question in that part of it. I think the unsung hero because I think though Dippy hasn't had any like horrible games, he hasn't had any pop off games this split. Turris has been playing pretty well, but again, no nothing crazy. And Higgins, he's played good, definitely played good, but I mean, I have worried about this pool, and I don't think it's completely unjustified. But considering all those things, Rodriguez done extremely well to kind of say, "Hey, I got you guys. Don't worry about nothing. I'll take care of the business." But I think Mac has done so well in the 80 carry role since coming to this team, and I think between him and Rika, they're both MVP candidates, in my opinion. And I don't think it's like a dark horse where like I was talking about Eclipse earlier. I think they're just straight up both MVP candidates. But the caveat is, and this kind of goes to my thing about Instinct, they're just kind of such a stacked team, in my opinion, that like you don't need some of these players to pop off. And I think Dippy's just kind of chilling. That's probably the Dippy thing. I could see him like chilling back on his keyboard, sipping himself a mimosa, just having a good old time. I hope Dippy you watch this because I might be this here. But no, I mean it's just the team overall is very very good. It's just five great players. That's why they're not easy to shut down. There are some issues we've talked about a bit, and it's because they are new to playing with each other. But they've cleaned some of that up throughout the split, and this series obviously showcasing that as well. But yeah, I think both of them for me would be MVP type candidates, as they've just had an unbelievable split for the both of them. Oh, sorry guys, I'm starting to gas out here. Probably gonna get through this pretty quickly, so we'll go ahead and we'll get to the end here and see what happens. Big 10K gold lead at 24 minutes. Another one of those big gold leads. Really hard to come back from. The game still went 28 minutes though. At least they made them work a little bit there. Um, Tong Tong here had a nice little Tristana game, but just sadly was not enough here out of Saboro. Saboro is one of those teams, and we'll get here in a game too. I'm trying to think like who would be the MVP for me on this team, and that's actually something I can't really decide. Funny enough, I haven't been able to like. I think the team's played really well overall. That's five members, but I don't know who I want to pick as my MVP from this team. And maybe there's just not somebody that's sticking out as an MVP. Not every team has to have one necessarily, but I think there's been teams that have had players that could be considered for it. Right? We've kind of discussed that. Um, but I would definitely have a hard time picking somebody. Maybe it's because I also can't understand names, so that uh, I don't know. I don't want to say that as Mandarin, but maybe that's Mandarin. Somebody can tell me in the chat. Feel free. I don't know my um, Asian lettering very well. But yeah, man. I don't know if that's what it is because I think both of them have played well throughout the split. They definitely changed their names a couple times too. I feel like they're messing with me. Everybody's just messing with me with the name changes. Um, I'll have to think about it a bit here, but yeah, Sapporo overall as a team just played very excellently. I think they're a team that's earned their right to be part of this league for sure, and might have themselves looking at a playoff spot here in their first split. Um, so it's pretty exciting for them, I'm sure. What I would consider a very hard split to make playoffs, by the way. We haven't really talked about this a lot, but 6 teams out of 14. I mean, that's not great odds, you know. So coming in as your first split, and you're looking at a third seed in the group, but you're looking at a chance against a team like Ninja Turtles. That's all you can you wish for really. So gonna scroll here a little bit through this last game. Higgins on the board. All right, he's showcasing it this week, guys. He's pulling out the picks. Higgins, I'm done. I'm done with the Mimi stuff. All right, buddy, you've shown yourself. Bard and Braum games looked good. I think your recon doesn't look too bad. So you've proven enough to me. You have fixed your issue, man. Your hook pull issue has been solved. I trust your other support picks, and you're gonna need them. You're gonna need them. I promise you that. With the 5 games and playoffs here, so all right, here we go. We'll get the. Oh, I went too far. Here we go. So unfortunately, I'm Winter is that man. They got none of their base left, pretty much. That sucks trying to play that. 26 minutes losing your entire base, and it's just pretty easy to fight. The turret does respawn to try to help. A little bit too late, man. What the hell? Come on, turrets. What are y'all doing? Another really, really nice game here out of Mac, and this is why I'm saying, man, this guy's been absolutely insane, aka Angel Boy. So, really well done by him. But all right, that's enough of that. Let's go ahead and we will jump into where do we want to start? Let's start here. So we got these week 7 matchups. We talked a little bit about them. We got one matchup going on tonight. I think the rest will be over the weekend. Free to play already getting the 2-0 over Ghost. Again, Ghost not playing. I'll reiterate that just in case anyone's wondering again. But yeah, so Femboy Jellyfish on a bye. I think they're pretty much locked in at the 2nd seed of the group. I don't think they can move at all. Yeah, no, they can't. 100% they can't. Instinct versus Team 3. Team 3, obviously, they're playing only for pride. Hey, if you knock off Instinct, that'd be pretty crazy and pretty cool to end the split, though, no? So we'll see what happens there. I'm sure Instinct will be playing to win, regardless of them being locked in at the 1. And then you got Ninja Turtles versus Saboro here. Like I said, this has a lot of playoff implications, but at least this group is more simple. If they win, they're in, right? Ninja Turtles wins, they're the 3rd seed, they're locked in. Saboro wins, 3rd seed, they're locked in. Meanwhile, Group A, it's really fun and complicated. But then again, it's not complicated. Depends on how you look at it. But 3 teams can still make playoffs that haven't quite yet. So first off, we discussed it already, but Hashira, they are locked in at the 1. They cannot move. They have the match over coin flip, so that puts them there. Coin flip is locked in at the 2. They cannot move. So the matchups matter, but they matter for the other side of things. So, Insane Banana Posse, what do they need to happen to make it? Well, they need to beat coin flip tonight. Then they need Vancouver to lose to the Hashira. No, I'm sorry. They need Small Brains to lose to Capuchungas. No, I'm wrong. That would put them in at the 3rd seed. What do Vancouver need? Well, Vancouver, all they have to do is beat the Hashira to guarantee it. Or Insane Banana Posse loses tonight. That locks them in, right? So either of those options. Small Brains needs the biggest help, okay? Small Brains would need to beat Capuchungas. Then they would need Insane Banana Posse to beat Coin Flip and Hashira to beat Vancouver. That would cause a 3-way tie. Then we go into match record, and it really would depend on what happens in all these series at that point. But at least it would mean they'd have a chance, and they could just think, okay, well, we caused the tie, what can we do? But they need a lot of help. So I would say the percentage is pretty low. Making playoffs, you never know what can happen, though. And honestly, for Insane Banana Posse, it feels kind of slim, too, because I think Vancouver looks pretty good. They might even be able to knock out Hashira this weekend. It's very possible. So it's gonna be pretty fun there. And just to show you guys more with the standings here, you can kind of see them. Hashira would move to 6-0 if they won. Coin Flip would move to 5-1, but they're both locked in at the 1 and the 2. Same there with Instinct and Femboys. And so only the 3rd seats are open. So it'll be a very exciting end of the split this weekend, and or not split, but the end of the regular season of the splits. All right, let's do this. Let's jump over here real quick. I think the part of the episode everybody's been waiting on, the good old power rankings. All right, so what exciting stuff do I have for you guys? Well, let's start with the bottom 4 here. So I finally decided I'm moving Capuchungas up 1. I don't know how much that's going to matter to you guys, Capuchungas, but Campbell, you did it. regardless, your team moves up. I think you guys looked overall pretty good this split, man. I wish the rest of the team would have stayed and played because I don't think they looked bad either. I understand maybe people are feeling a little burnt out. You guys have played a lot of competitive league this year, kind of back to back to back splits. I think like 4 in a row actually. I think you played winter last year too, right? So it's been pretty exhausting for you guys. But you move up a spot here to the 12th spot. So that means free to play falls to uh, the 13th. Team 3 going to stay where they're at. They're sitting at the 11. And Scorch, unfortunately, with their loss to Small Brains, will drop down to the 10th spot. I feel like there's really not much surprise towards the bottom of this. Pretty standard, like usual. All right, we'll show the next set of teams here. We're keeping it with the next 5. So, same Banana Posse with their win. They move up a single spot here to the number 9. Small Brains having the victory over them. That is why Small Brains sits still at the 8. Vancouver with the victory over them kind of makes sense why I'm keeping them at the 7. Now, I understand the same Banana Posse has beat Vancouver, but Vancouver also has a better record at 3-2 compared to both Small Brains and St. Banana Posse's 2-3. Ninja Turtles and Saboro both sitting at 3-2. I think Saboro has looked more promising towards these last couple of weeks, regardless of a loss. But with that being said, they still did drop 1 down to the number 5 spot, while Ninja Turtles sit comfortably there at the 6, which would imply these are playoff teams, right? Well, Vancouver is technically pretty much a playoff team, right? It's just these two teams face each other this week. So, Saboro and Ninja Turtles, we will have the answer on who truly is better and who deserves the higher ranking spot as well. And lastly, you guys already know what number 1 is, but I think it'd be fun to reveal it like this. Yes. So, still no surprise to some, but a big surprise to others. I actually think it's a surprise to most. I moved Hashira up to the 1 spot. They moved up 2 spots, and they are now the other number 1. I think Instinct, they move up 1 here, and they're going to find themselves at the 2, and Coin Flip's going to drop down to, unfortunately, the 3. Now, if you're wondering why I decided that, and I should also mention Femboy to move up 1. They beat Saboro. They deserve that. They're now the number 4. But why I did that? So, I think Hashira has just, they've been so battle tested. They look so good, man. I think they have the MVP on their team, and if not the MVP, at least an MVP candidate. They look great. And I think that group was harder, in my opinion, too, than Instinct's group this split. In the end, so it was a big battle for them to kind of get through. A lot of those series were decided in the full 3 games. With that said, both these teams have one more matchup this week. Could move them around at the end of week 7. But yeah, I mean, as of now, here's my new number 1. It's Hashira, the top of the world, man. You guys have made it to the very top of the mountain. So I think it'll be an exciting end to the split with all that being said. Lastly, I figure why not just discuss this, but like I kind of gave you guys my MVPs, and let me count how many. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's actually 8 people. Yeah, exactly 8. how would I rank them? For fun. This is all for fun. Like I said, I'd do it before the end of the episode, but I think, and you know what? No, I'm not gonna do all that. It's not that important. You guys just hear. Maybe I'll put a screenshot on if you guys really want me to show you my screenshot in order. But I would say, or as of right now, I think Akaza would be. There's actually 9, by the way. My apologies. I think Akaza is probably my leading candidate. I would say, and that's just because I think he's just been out of his mind the whole split, and he's played unique picks. He's done so well. I think it's very close between him and I'm gonna say Zema and probably GeoPro, maybe, or maybe those in Nexus kind of feel this way, and I'm gonna explain why there. So I think you got a lot of teams on the outside looking in, and I think if Small Brains makes it, I think Zema should, in my opinion, would solidify an MVP case at number 1 or 2 spot for that. And at the same side, I kind of feel the same way about Nexus and Ninja Turtles. If they make it, I think that's kind of solidifies it for me on Nexus. So I think it'd be something along the lines of like Akaza 1, and then for the sake of it, we'll put GeoProw 2, and then Zema 3, Nexus 4. Makes the most sense to me. I think they played excellent. Both of them all split. Something I just noticed? I don't have a top laner. I guess I kind of have discussed Brandino as maybe an option, but nonetheless. So that'd be those four. After that, I would probably have to say Ghost Tiger if Insane Banana Posse makes it, should get him. I mean, he's been excellent, like I said, too. And I don't think the team is where they're at without him. They're not even having a shot at playoffs without him. Then I think it'd be probably Choros and then probably my last three would definitely. It's gonna be funny, but I think Warika is probably on the bottom for me as far as MVP candidates. I just think the team is so stacked. Same reason why I think Don Don's a little lower and Mac's a little lower. I think Mac would be over Don Don and then and Marika. So if like I was doing betting for these, there would be some odds on this, and obviously Marika would have like your odds would be if you put money on him, you'd win the most, right? So I think it can go either way. You guys decide at the end of the day. I'm just some guy that does play in the league, but realistically, I'm just some guy, man. This is just my takes. Whether you guys like them or not, I mean that's fine. I'm just here for a good time and having fun with you guys doing these episodes. But I think all these guys truly are MVP type players and should be for your consideration. I think you'll make your decision after week 7 because we still have to wait on some series to be played to make these final decisions. But I've always looked at MVP like this, and I'm going to give my full understanding and take on this. An MVP is not the guy with the best stats, okay? I think that helps. It's not the team with the best record. So the guy on the team with the best record but the best I don't think that's what MVP is. An MVP to me is you take that guy off a team, what are they? And I think for some of these teams, like not Instinct, I think you take Don Don off the team, they're still a team. I think Don Don's very important to the team, but they're still a team. I think you take someone like Rurika or Mac off their teams, they're still also a team. I think they're still going to compete and probably still find a way to be that second seed. I think same thing with someone like GeoPro. I think you take him off the team, even though they did lose, which kind of should help his candidacy, in my opinion. I think overall the coin flip's still good enough to make playoffs with them. I think there's other guys on the list. I mean, you start talking about them, maybe with the exception of Akaza, but I think Akaza's been so excellent this split that he just, unfortunately, being on a team, maybe he is an MVP type guy. But overall, and I even make an argument for Akaza if he's not on the team that they might not be as good. They look so well oiled because of him. But yeah, I think the rest of those guys, like, there's chances that these teams aren't even like in the running this split. I mean, multiple of these teams are 2 and 3 on teetering, trying to make it. A couple of them are 3 and 2, again teetering, trying to make it. And so that's kind of how I look at MVP. It does not mean the guy with the best stats and the best record on the best team aren't MVPs. It's just I look at that more than I just go, boom, flashy numbers. That guy's it. He's the MVP. So it's always up to interpretation. I've always thought in other sports the MVP is valued the wrong way. But at least here in League, it's a little easier to tell, I think, who really is an MVP. And I think you guys always make the right choice. I've never been disappointed with an MVP choice you guys have made. So I suspect this will be like no different. You guys will pick the right guy. And if it's any of those 8, I can't complain. If it's somebody else, I guess it'll have to depend on who it is. But that's my takes, man. So I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Hopefully week 7 we'll have me and CLT back on the mic again. It's been, like I said, pretty rough. I'm probably not going to cast tonight. My voice is pretty tired. I'm sick. I don't know what's going on with me. Maybe I'm ready for the internal nap or something. No, I'm just kidding, guys. I really just don't know. It's been a weird healthy year for me. So thanks again. I will see you guys probably this weekend if I don't see you guys tonight. And for sure, we'll see you guys next week for the last episode of the regular season, and we'll be ready for some playoffs. So have a good one, and thank you guys again. GG.